Today we're looking for a creature clad in black leather armor, with 2 thrashing whips, giant binding spiky claws, and a tail that sprays an acidic liquid. Sounds kinky, and I'm into it. So today we are looking for one of the weirdest things you could ever find, the vinegoroon. I've wanted to find a vinegoroon for as long as I can remember, but I've never been able to, even though they're supposedly pretty common around my hometown of Albuquerque. Luckily, I got an invite from Spencer from the YouTube channel My Wild Backyard to join him in Arizona to search for some amazing desert wildlife, and this was just the chance I needed to finally be united with the ultimate fetish fulfiller. The vinegoroon, not Spencer. So I'm only in Arizona for a total of 4 days, yet today we are dropping 3 hours just to drive to one location. Now, I'm not convinced Spencer isn't driving me out into the desert to dispose of me and get rid of his future competition, but we are heading to the Chiricaua Mountains, one of the most biodiverse places in the Southwest. There's a whole lot of species you can only find there, and I'm really hoping that we can find some unique stuff in this incredible mountain. The Chiricauas are an oasis of cool forests surrounded by scathing desert, and is infested with some really cool wildlife of all sorts. But what really drew me into these mountains is the vinegoroon that's found here, the tohono vinegoroon, who uniquely has red highlights on its black armor. This species only lives in the mountains of southeast Arizona and southwest New Mexico, and my best chance of finding one is gonna be right here. All right, we have arrived at our flipping spot. Spencer's already over there getting us a good angle of him bending over for that log. We are flipping over logs, rocks, anything that might have any good sneaky little invertebrates under it. We're gonna see what happens. Flipping over logs is a great way to find creatures sheltering from the heat of the day, and already we were finding some pretty cool stuff. This striped bark scorpion is a close relative of the Arizona bark scorpion, the deadliest in the country and a species I'm really hoping to find on this trip to Arizona. But the bug I'm looking for today is even higher on the food chain, and will actually eat scorpions like this. Vinegoroons are also one of the only creatures able to eat toxic millipedes, although I'm pretty sure the giant one that almost blinded me in the Philippines would give them a run for their money. We were finding some neat stuff, but none of these things were really filling the vinegoroon-sized hole in my heart, so it was time for desperate actions. All right, it has been brutal here in the Chiricauas. Try as we might, no vinegoroons have appeared, but luckily, I've packed the secret weapon, so hopefully, by the invert gods, we can waft some of this in the habitat, and I'm hoping it'll pay off. Yeah, that did absolutely nothing. All right, so because we were so incredibly inept that we could not find one on our own, we're actually stopped by the Chiricaua Southwest Research Station, and we got some tips on some rocks to flip over in a much more damp, much more humid environment, so hopefully they hold a lot more creatures. One of their volunteers brought us to a place higher in elevation, where vinegoroons have been spotted before. So as everyone else started flipping over logs and rocks, naturally I got distracted by some turkeys that I wanted to film. You know, that super rare bird you just can't find anywhere else. So as I left everyone to their own devices to film this incredibly elusive species, I figured I surely couldn't have missed anything that important.
It's like so hard to get in most of the places you'd normally go to. We drove 3 hours out.
Me.
What?
You flipped it right on the board.
What?
Dude.
Did you want one of these as well?
Yeah, a little bit.
$10, we'll let you get a photo with it.
Those turkeys were worth it. You never see those.
Oh, is that what you were taking pictures
Yeah, you
of?
have to come here to the Chiricauas to see a turkey. Oh my God, look at that thing. Well guys, here it is, found all by myself extremely easily, the vinegoroon, nature's dominatrix. Let's just look at that armor, almost like a skin-tight leather gimp suit. This thing isn't like a really firm, like hard exoskeleton like a beetle. It's actually soft and pliable, just like those leather gimp suits, so it's able to squeeze under things. And let's just look at that most noticeable feature, those 2 whips that it's flailing around. Now, what is it gonna use that for? Well, I'd like to think that it likes to slap its prey, you know, really hit home in those repressed daddy issues, but these are actually sensory whips. These are modified legs that it uses to feel around the environment, kind of get a sense of where it is, because unlike other arachnids, this guy's eyes are tiny. It probably doesn't want to see the sort of activities this little dominatrix gets up to. So it's going to be using those sensory whips to be feeling around. And of course, the big feature, that huge whip on the back of it, that tail. Now, instead of a scorpion, where it's going to be injecting venom out of that, that's a little too tame for this guy. This guy goes full golden shower. It just spritzes you up. It just coats you in an acidic bath made of some pretty weird chemicals. So half of it is acetic acid, which is what you find in vinegar. But the other half is caprylic acid, which is named after goats because this is an acid actually found in goat's milk. So if this thing sprays you in the face, it's really kind of hitting you with a Homelander special. And it is one weird cocktail of chemicals coming from such a weird bug. Now, out of any vinegaroon I could have found, I love that it's this one because of that coloration. Now, when they're younger, they actually have these bright red highlights on their little chelicera and all across their legs, but now that it's older, now it's a little more mature, not into that kitty stuff. This is a very serious animal. It's very that toned maroon, but it even has some red on its belly, really beautiful. And how this thing hunts, you know, the kinks don't stop there. It's got these little spiky handcuff-looking arms. It just hits its prey with the hardest bondage you could imagine, and if I'll show you guys a close-up of it, so many spikes, almost looks like the gears on some sort of hellish machine. It's just gonna crunch its prey up and then devour it just like that. Now, many of you would probably peg this as a scorpion, and trust me, you would probably like that, but it actually swings a different way. This is more related to tailless whip scorpions. There's some in Arizona, but largely you're gonna find them in Central America. But this is, of course, the absolute platinum edition final evolution of the hellish arthropod scale. So now that I'm working with an animal that has been through quite a lot in its very devious life, I need to push myself beyond my limits. So I'm actually gonna see if I can put this guy on my face, do a little bit of humiliation ritual, and see what happens. Oh, putting it in my mouth. Let's see. I don't even know what to say right now. This is really cool. Oh no, I hope it doesn't squirt me in my face. Wow, it feels, you know, it's not the lightest invertebrate, but it's spread out between so many legs that it's like a little ticklish kind of sensual pressure on the side of my face. And it's weird. I can't see it at all except for one little squiggly whip that's tantalizing my peripheral vision. But wow, what a cool way to end my experience with the vinegaroon. I hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned for much more invertebrate arthropod action, even though I doubt it'll get as kinky as this video. I'll see you guys next time.